Dash your Raid Shadow Legends, welcome to the video. I'm glad to have you all here with me today talking some Raid. So today, I'm gonna talk about something I hate. Actually,
6 things I hate.
Why am I running so slow?
6 champions I absolutely hate facing inside this game. They make me want to rage quit, throw the phone out the window, sayonara.
Sayonara.
Honestly, guys, I hate these champions and they're going to surprise you. Some of them are not going to surprise you at all. Some of them will absolutely surprise you. This is not, these are the best champions in the game. These are the champions that I absolutely just can't stand facing. And I'm going to talk about why as we go through the list. But first, you guys, I got to know, who do you hate facing inside this game the most? Let me know in the comments below. If you have no problem facing the champions that I list, go ahead and let me know why. Maybe I'm missing something, that you have a secret tip or something to deal with these guys. There's not going to be some super common ones in this, like, you know, UDK is absolutely everywhere, but obviously, why am I in Demon Spawn? I have no idea. UDK is absolutely everywhere, but he's not going to be on the list because at this point, I've kind of learned to deal with him, learned to live with him, right?
That's a you problem. I'll be dead soon.
Same thing for another, like, really popular champion that's everywhere that can be annoying in Sun Wukong, Taurus and Marichka. Yeah, I don't love facing them, but anyway, I digress. I do have one obvious champion on the list, because how could I freaking make a list of champions I hate facing without putting Armand the Magnificent? There's nothing magnificent about him if he's on the other team, at least, right? This dude, I mean, I don't need to say much about Armand the Magnificent. He's the worst, man. He's the best and he's the worst.
Oh, thank you very much.
He's the best when you have him. He's the worst when the enemy does, especially in the arena. This is like mainly oriented towards the arena, this video. He's got the speed knob battle, sure, but like, the thing about Armand's is the Master of Ceremonies is just ridiculous. When the sheep's removed or expires on an enemy, increases the cooldown of a random skill to its max. Like, dude, that's insult added to injury right there. I mean, not only is he adding the sheep, but he's also removing the bust from all enemies, and the sheep can't be blocked, man. I know I'm telling you the champion that you know all too well, right? But nobody, no champion ever, forget Hegemon, forget Tormund, even at their worst or their best, nobody disrupted the Raid Shadow Legends PvP scene like Armand the Magnificent. Nobody, and this dinosaur's been around enough or long enough to experience all of those champions. You gotta hate him. He comes in here, he steals your turn meter, he stuns you, and then he takes another turn, he removes all your buffs, he sheeps, you know, your most important, your cleanser, basically, right? Or whoever he feels like. It's the worst. And then they finally get out of their sheep that seems to last 150 turns for everybody else, for them, because of the speed. And then he comes in with the decreases their skill, right? I mean, Armand's, whatever. I hate going against Armand's. He's my number. You know, I went through this period, right? By the way, number 2 is Siegfried, so we'll get to him in just a moment here. But Armand's, just an anecdote. I went through this period where I'm like, screw this, man. I'm not gonna ban Armand's every arena battle. I'm not gonna try to avoid him in classic arena. I'm not gonna ban him in live arena. But what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna build a team to deal with Armand's, right? So I have a 6-star polymorph on a Harima. That's a good weapon to combat Armand's. I thought, you know what? I'm going to build a bunch of very high resist champions, right? I'm going to go with a high resist strategy. And boy, did it work sometimes, but the majority, it didn't. It didn't. You just can't deal with Armand's. You can mitigate him a little bit, but you can't totally neutralize an Armand's, meaning, I guess I tell you that long story to say that he's still, now I just ban him all the time. I'm back to just banning him all the time and avoiding him if I can inside classic arena, because you just never know, right?
Excuse me. Why am I here?
Siegfried, man, this guy is the most powerful attack-based nuker in the game, and I don't even think it's close. I mean, like, all apologies to Georgian and everybody else out there. Siegfried, the thing I hate about him so much is really, I guess, twofold. Number one is, I mean, this ability is great. The fact that it can fill his turn meter and basically get close to another turn right after it. That doesn't annoy me as much as when he's on the other team, again, the Rage of Nephilim, right? A potential ignore 100% of the target's defense if you have Helm Smasher plus, you know, your Savage Gear, your Lethal, whatever. This ability, there's just nothing like it, right? Even Narcissus, who I don't have on the list, but he's right there, right? It's like when Siegfried goes and you don't have protection, he's not, you haven't reset his skill cooldowns or whatever, but when he goes with the Rage of Nephilim, man, everybody's dead. Everybody's dead. Unless you have Stone Skin or a UDK, right? That's number one. Number one, he's such an immense threat with this ability. Nothing hits harder than it in the game, right? But number two is how difficult he is to kill, right? So he has the, the preemptive block damage ability with the heal and fills their turn meter by 100%. But you also have to kill him not last. If you kill him last, then he transforms to his alternate form. He revives everybody with block damage for not one, but 2 turns. Okay, so you gotta basically, it puts you in this awkward situation where this immense threat is on the board, right? With the A3 and the A2 hits incredibly hard as well, by the way, right? You gotta kill him first, but you can't kill him because of the block damage and the heal. So you just got to basically waste your turns chipping away at him, and you can't let him be the last alive. And he's such an immense threat at all times. So Siegfried, I hate going against him. I hate him. All right, number 3. Where am I going? No, I don't want your faction accessories, Raid. Come on, get out of here, player.
Okay, fine. You've given up. Fine.
Shuzen the Valorous. Ooh, I hate going against Shuzen, man. She might be top of the list for yours truly. She is such a threat. She's such a threat. A live arena, I just don't like. I'm just like, shoot. Like, even if the Armand's on the same team, I often think to myself, well, I'm screwed here. I might be screwed here, depending on obviously who they have. But the Purging Petals, man, like obviously the Charge of the Valorous for A3 is a good move, a good opening move. But on some teams, you're like, who is, when you go against Shuzen, you don't even ask yourself, okay, is she the biggest threat? You ask who is the biggest threat on the team, because they're going to build her super, super fast. They're going to have the speed. They're going to beat you in the speed in the arena. And then is this one sentence that makes her so annoying to go against, really, for me at least, activates an instant turn effect on a target ally. So basically that ally will move at the speed of Shuzen the Valorous, right? And it's annoying as all hell, right? Not only that, but she also buffs them, increase attack, increase crit rate, increase crit damage. So oftentimes she'll like pass it to Jirjit, right? To Nutcracker. And basically, I mean, that combo right there, I should probably put them both tied. I hate it so much, man. I hate it so much. I'll just ban Shuzen, because then Nutcracker or whoever, right? Like anybody, it could be a Nithwi Blood Twin, could be a Deny Revive champion, right? Goes in there, ignores Stone Skin, gets an extra turn because they killed an enemy, attacks everybody, decrease my turn meter. I mean, this is all that could happen in one Shuzen turn. And they could build their Jirgid with super slow 130 speed with attack percentage on the boots. He still gets the instant turn, 70% crit rate, who cares, because Shuzen gives him the extra 30%. You see where I'm going here. I think the Shuzen is just... And that's just such a special ability on such a fast champion that always makes her a threat that absolutely must be responded to. I hate going against her. I hope I made my point there. I want to talk about the other mythical on the list, guys. I have two. I have two that I hate going against. It's not a Crixia. It's not a Galathir. Obviously, they're more powerful than this champion by a mile, but I actually really, really, really hate going against Mezimel Luperfang. Yeah, that's right. One of the worst mythicals in the game. I really do. So if you pull her and you're watching this video as your first mythical and you're really bumming out, well, go ahead and bookmark this video and then maybe you won't be as bummed out, right? Mezimel, honestly, I gotta be real, as someone who pulled her and was like, I think my reaction when I pulled her was like, oh man, damn it, this sucks. Player out!
You were driving me nuts.
But I was actually wrong on her. I know I was wrong on her. First of all, the alternate form is really good. AoEs, I'm not gonna spend forever on a mythical champion, but a True Fear for 2 turns on a 3-turn cooldown, a lot of damage on 2 AoE attacks. But the reason I fear her isn't any of that. It's because lately it's become in vogue for people who are lucky enough to have her to build her in this way. Basically, I mean, 2-turn True Fear against Taurus, and it's a force to be reckoned with, honestly. They built her pretty dang slow, right? In a 70% crit rate, attack percentage on the boots, basically min-maxing just her damage at the expense of speed, right? And then they go in, they open with Moonlight Gift, which is her A3. It gives her the increased crit rate, the increased attack, and increased crit damage with the extra turn. And they go in with this Scarlet Crescent ability. And I'll tell you guys, this, it doesn't hit that hard. That's why you got to sacrifice a lot to build her. All out attack. And her base attack is 1652, so it's scalable, very scalable. All out attack, all out crit damage, as much ignored defense as you can muster, right? So basically Helm Smasher, Savage, or Merciless, or whatever, lethal. And then what you want to do is you self-buff herself, right? You go in with your extra turn, you ignore Stone Skin, Strengthen, Ally Protection, and Shield, and it's a block revive. The fact that she's Spirit Affinity block revive that ignores Stone Skin, even though it doesn't hit super hard, the fact that she buffs herself, you can just build her so slow, right? Obviously, provided you can keep her alive, you might have to put a Stone Skin and a Savage if you have the gear, if you have the accessories, right? That's another very popular way to build her. Very slow in the One Piece Stone Skin. And then she kills somebody and they can't be revived. She kills your Harima, for example, right? She's very good against all these very powerful Force Affinity, either damage dealers or revivers or support right now inside the game, right? So I don't like going against her. She's not that great necessarily, but I hate going against her. I actually ban her quite a bit because I'm like, oh, I'm not going to deal with that. I'm not going to deal with her taking down my nuker before the battle's even started. All right, so next up, that was, I know that was a stretch, and a lot of people are going to be shocked at that one that's on my list, but yeah, I just really hate facing her. That ability, I don't like it anymore. I don't like it. Rotos the lost, they still, the weird thing is like, she's still, for the majority of players out there, unless you have God tier gear, right, she still deserves a buff, maybe, on the base form, But if they buffed her, I feel like she would be even more popular than she already is, starting to become more and more popular in the end game because you can put her in that God tier gear, right? Anyway, I digress. Rotos the Lost Groom. Rotos! He's still on my freaking list, guys. It's crazy that over like even a Siffy or something like that, it's Rotos. You know why, guys? Because Rotos has wrecked me one too many times. Okay, 100 too many freaking times. He always wrecks me, man. He always wrecks me. Now, the thing on Rotos is when you plan for him, he can be manageable, right? Okay, they draft him first or something stupid like that. You should never draft him first, right? You don't show your hand with a champion who's as easy to counter as a Rotos, but they don't do that. They draft him towards the end, last, right? Yeah, if you have a UDK, you can be prepared for Rotos, right? If you have a Harima, you can mitigate Rotos. But I'm not too proud to admit something that's pretty embarrassing. I've lost 2 Rotos teams with a freaking Harima or a UDK on my team before, right? He's that good. Moreover, I can't count the number of battles that I thought that I already won in my head, and then a Rotos the freaking Lost Groom on the other team just bat. My whole team is dead, and I haven't even taken a turn. I don't even know what the hell happened sometimes. Just got run over by the Rotos truck. That was an awful analogy. Got run over by the Rotos truck. Next. All right, guys, last on the list is going to be the most unexpected champion. So we have Rotos, Mezamel, Siegfried, Armands, and Shuzen so far. Whew. This one was on nobody's radar, I can guarantee. It's a little dwarf that I really just hate going against. And it's Goffred. It's Goffred Brassclaw. That's right, guys. I really hate this dude, man. Actually, when I say I hate any of these champions, it means I love them. I think that this guy, I think he's really underrated, specifically in the arena. I think a lot of people get turned off by his A3 ability and increased defense on all allies and removes decreased defense and weaken. It's a pretty lame freaking ability for a legendary champion. Like, this is it? Like, where's the rest of it? Especially because decreased defense and weaken are like not that common anymore, especially in PvP, but it could be helpful in other areas. It's not the worst ability, but it's certainly not something that wows you, right, at first glance. He does have a provoke and a decreased defense on his A1, which is actually pretty nice, 50% on both, so you can kind of go in there after, if the battle goes long, right, after you've increased defense in everybody and stun them on the A2, you can start provoking after that and debuffing, which is nice and handy. But the AoE stun on a 3-turn cooldown, this is a 100% stun on a 3-turn cooldown from a defense-based champion. It's a really solid move, obviously, especially on a 3-turn, 100%, nice and easy. But the reason he bothers me isn't any of that stuff, right? Like that stuff, whatever. Mikage has an AoE stun, so do have plenty of champions, right? Ragash, whatever. It's actually the brass-clad passive that I find very annoying about this guy. Whenever an ally's, let's go to the active effect first. If an ally's about to get killed by a fatal hit, blocks incoming damage, and then places a block damage buff on them for 1 turn. So whoever you try to kill when Goffred is on the team, every 4 turns, whoever you want to kill, they're basically going to block the entire damage and put a block damage on them. And then it gets worse, right? If it was just that, I'd be like, all right, he's kind of annoying, but whatever, right? Annoying in kind of the same way like a Lydia is. Like, oh, that's annoying, but I know it was coming, whatever. But what I really find annoying is whenever that ally is attacked after that, while under a block damage placed by this champion, they have a 100% chance of placing a stun on the attacker for 1 turn. That's kind of nasty. That's nasty, right? Especially if you have AoE champions, like with an AoE on the A1 you just can't control, you have to attack them. It in turn stuns them. So when you put the stun on the passive with the stun on the A2 and the block damage, this guy, I feel like he's like a really unsung hero in terms of tanky teams that have a lot of control dynamics to them as well. Sometimes you build those stall teams or those go second teams in the arena, and you kind of have like a flex spot to put in as your last champion, right? Maybe you have like a Vogoth and a Magnar and whatever, right? And then you have like sometimes, okay, what do I want here? Do I want to revive her? Sure. But then who's my 4th going to be? How about a Goffred Brassclad? He's a great addition in those sort of areas on your teams, guys. Seriously, if you have him, maybe unvault him or maybe build him and give him a shot. He's a cool little dwarf, honestly. He has utility in other areas of the game. He's defense based. He's easy to keep alive as well. He brings his own increased defense, as we already discussed. So guys, those are 6 champions that I really hate going against, right? There's probably a few others. Who do you have, now that you've like heard my whole list and kind of heard where my mind was at on these champions? I'm very curious who you would put on your personal I hate to face them list. Again, it's not the best champions in the game list. It's the I just rather not face that champion ever again. Please delete them from the game, player. Guys, let me know in the comments below. Much love, and as always, take care, guys.